Crime is everywhere and consistently on the rise. Quick and easy cases are solved daily, but what of those other cases? The ones that have gone cold with no new leads or information. The famous serial killers have been captured and made public. But what of those still on the loose, or even worse, still killing? Welcome to the realm of darkness. Your host, Reeni and Ashley, will be your guides into the mysterious world of true crime cases and stories. Here are your hosts, Reeni and Ashley.
Oh my gosh, I was on mute. Welcome everyone to Realm of Darkness. I'm Reeni.
And I am Ashley.
And we are going to talk about true crime. But I kind of want to ask Ashley why she's so intrigued by true crime.
It's the whole psychological aspect of it for me. Trying to get into the minds of these killers and trying to figure out why they did what they did. Was it trauma in their past? Were they born with these thoughts and intentions? Were they something in their environment that made them snap? That's the part that makes me more interested in it. And the fact that just there are so many killers out there that are actually really intelligent. And I wonder where on that spectrum do you cross that line from genius to psychopath? So.
No, and I definitely have to agree with you because I know you and I have had this conversation before where I was like, no, I'm watching Deadly Women. And I wasn't sure if I would because it is intriguing. Just like when you were on my show Secrets Within and we were talking about it, and I've always been kind of curious about it. It's like, what makes that person tick? Like what makes somebody want to hurt somebody else like that?
Yeah. Like what's their breaking point? Was it, something that they experienced as a child? Was it some type of abuse or bullying? Something? I mean, I don't know. I guess people can be born with those thoughts, but there's got to be that point where they break and they're like, that's it. I'm going on a spree.
Going on a spree. I mean, it's not funny. It's really not funny. But when you think about it, like and I don't want to say like as a normal person, because technically they still are people and it's not normal to go on like a killing spree. We know this, you're not supposed to do that. But like for an example, what was that lady? I can't remember her name. She was like that prostitute. They did that whole movie on her, like Monster. Now I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Like that whole thing intrigued me. Like she was prostituting herself because she didn't have anywhere to live. And then all of a sudden now like she's killing these men. And I'm thinking to myself, why? For what? What, you just need money?
Yeah. Or or did she go through an experience early in her life that just kind of made her turn on men?
Well, from what I was understanding, and again, just because I watched the movie Monster doesn't exactly mean that that's really how it really went down, until you like I cannot remember her name. It was just right there and now I can't remember it. But I do remember, I think that she was raped when she was younger or something on that order. So basically she was living in the streets. So, I mean, then she found a girlfriend and it was kind of one of those things where now she's committing crime and then it was a whole big thing. And I did see an interview and I think it was like a clip on Facebook or something that she really was like, she did have remorse before they, I don't know if they I don't know. I didn't remember watching all of it. It's been so long ago. But I guess, like, honestly, I don't know why this fascinates me. And maybe this is like the creepy part of me. That these people on death row, like their meals,
Yeah.
like
Well, and so there's a new show out called I Am a Killer. I think it's on Netflix, and it actually is a documentary of people who have killed someone or killed multiple people, and they tell their side of the story. The victim's family tells their side, and one of the inmates actually mentions that going to prison, a lot of them advocate to be on death row because you get treated better. You have your own TV, you have your own cell, and the food there is better. And I thought that that was crazy. But I mean, if you're crazy enough to, murder somebody, you're willing to do anything. But yeah, they actually advocate to be on death row, and I just thought that was crazy.
I just want to say hi, Nicole. Thanks for listening. And I kind of want to go back. But no, I mean, but hang on. I want to go back to that real quick, because when I was watching this thing on death row, they're saying that they take them to this whole big thing. Hi, Katie.
Hey, Katie.
and there was like rats and everything else living in there.
And I thought, really?
Yeah, but that was probably way back then. Yeah. But I heard that their last meals, they like, depending upon where you're at, you don't get, like, if I was on death row, I would probably want pizza and chicken, like my spinach chicken, which is kind of bizarre.
But I'd probably do cheese sticks and French fries, because those are my kryptonites.
But I heard some prisons aren't doing that anymore. But then some were, and I was just like, could you imagine like having just like your last meal? Like, sometimes I don't even know what I want for dinner. Like,
see, now this is where I'm going to sound really bad. I'm going to sound like an awful person. But if you're on death row, and I may offend somebody, so sorry early. If you're on death row for murder, and it is without a doubt that you're guilty, why are these people getting TVs and last meals? And I get it, they're human, but they took a life. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they should not get the amenities.
Hi, Bill.
That they get. Hi, Dad.
It's your dad.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad. No, and I have to agree with you there. But again, I see it both ways, honestly. Mm-hmm. Only because, let's face it, they got 24 hours? I think it was 24 hours, I think, for something on before they have to go to like what they get, the electric chair or a gas chamber.
Oh,
not the gas chamber.
That's not
the electric chair.
That's a different show. That's a history lesson.
That's a history lesson. I'm so sorry. Not the gas chamber. Which that would be a horrible death as well.
Were used back in the day. Mm-hmm.
But probably because I was looking up, there's a museum in Chicago that I've been wanting to go to, and it has all kinds of ways that they used to torture people.
Oh.
As far as death goes and stuff. So I've been very intrigued. I kind of want to go there, but I heard it's kind of creepy. It's not for the faint-hearted, but I am creepy. Yeah, exactly.
We can do an on-site show. There we go.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Look what we did. But I mean, I was looking at it and I was like, oh man, like I couldn't imagine. But I mean, Katie, I agree with Ashley. They should get whatever is being served at dinner, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Katie. I completely do, but I don't want to say that I feel bad for them, because I don't. Okay, I don't. But then I kind of look at it this way. Let's just say, like, I was watching this thing. Of course, it came up on my Facebook page about this gentleman who was in trouble for murdering his wife, and he didn't even do it. So he sat in jail for how many years? What happens if they put him to death? I mean, maybe he should have his last meal, considering he was found not guilty.
Well, I know when I do kind of like research on some of these cases, a lot of people that are put on death row normally serve like a minimum of 25 years. So I mean, not that that's an excuse. I definitely think that if somebody's innocent, they should be rewarded by the state. They should have apologies. I mean, I could not imagine going and being in prison for something I didn't do. That's an absolutely terrible thought. And not that it's any better that they have to spend 25 years of their life in prison, but that does give you time to try to advocate for yourself and hopefully prove your innocence. But that is terrifying. I do watch these shows, and some of them I'm like, nope, that person did it. They're guilty. But then there's other times where I don't think they did it. One of the biggest cases, which is kind of tied to paranormal, but I don't think Lizzie Borden killed her family. And people think I'm nuts, but I do not think she did it.
And like, okay, for an example, there was a case I did, and I'm not saying that this person was on death row or whatever. It was Rachel Wade. And I'm sorry, but I believe that she acted in self-defense. I mean, she's not on death row or anything. She should be, I believe she should be paroled here, I think, in a couple years. But I believe that she acted in self-defense. But here's where I'm having the issue is a lot of people that are acting in self-defense. What was it? Somebody was in trouble because they went after somebody that, raped their child, and they went and killed that person. And now this person's like sitting on death row. Well, personally, that to me, I don't.
No,
maybe they should have killed that person. Like, I definitely understand that. But at the same time, you hurt somebody.
Well, and until that, I mean, even after the age of 18, but until your child's 18, that's a part of you. I mean, they're always a part of you. And I'll be the first one. Somebody hurts my baby, that's it. Your pieces in my river. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's where I think the justice system, I kind of get where they're coming from. Like, okay, you murdered somebody, you need to go to prison. But life or death for protecting your child, I think is absurd. And I think just like self-defense, I mean, if you have a child that's being molested, they can't defend themselves. So it's your parental duty to protect your child. And
of
I think
course,
that should be taken into consideration in these cases. And unfortunately, sometimes it's not. You're right.
And I know a lot of you guys, maybe some of you guys that are listening, I am very partial to the Kathy Tucker case. That is one of my favorite cases. It's an unsolved case. I've done a couple shows on that, and it'll be another topic that I do here and on my other show, because I can't let that case go. But the other issue I think comes in is, look at the girls in Indiana. Okay, their case hasn't been solved. And will it ever? I don't know. But I guess what I'm trying to say is how is it that like some people get caught and some people just don't get caught? Like, how can you be that good at what you do?
Yeah.
Like, you've had to have done it before. I mean, I couldn't imagine going to hurt somebody. Like, I would have to plan it and then like rethink my plan, because let's be honest, like none of those plans go the way that you expect them to.
Right. Well, that, and it could be that the murderer or the killer is an absolute mastermind and planned it really well ahead of time. But there are some times that, the police departments that are in charge of these cases are a little sloppy with the evidence. Either, they don't send something out to be fingerprinted, or they don't send out DNA until 20 years later, or, they drop the ball, which we're all human. I mean, we're not all perfect at our jobs. But I think that does kind of play into it as well. And then also, if you have people who, like one of your favorites, if you're able to have that ability to get people to follow you, you can have people do your dirty work for you. You know exactly who I'm talking about, because he is your favorite. And I'm sure he'll be a topic too.
It is what it is. That's another thing when it comes to like cults and stuff like that. Like, how do they manage that? Like, I am not that smooth of a talker. And then just like drink the Kool-Aid, it's okay.
Right?
No, it's not.
Wonder that. I wonder that, because nobody really. Charles Manson, let's bring him out. He, as awful as it sounds, he truly is an incredible leader, not for what he did, but for his ability to brainwash people and get them to follow what he wanted to do. Just like I'm going to end up with some haters, but Hitler, like Hitler is an absolutely awful individual, but his ability to get people to follow him and trust him, like how? My husband can't even talk me into eating dinner at the same place, let alone killing millions of people. I mean,
I can't even.
like,
I
at
can't even
what
get my
point?
kids to listen to me. So
Right.
obviously I'm not that great of a leader. Let's
Right.
just be honest.
Well,
I mean,
and that's what I wonder. Is it their ability to lead? Are they a smooth talker? Or is it that they prey on the weakness of their followers? Because Charles Manson, he had a couple females. Did they have daddy issues? Did they have abuse issues? And he was the first one that maybe showed them love. And once they had that, their loyalty was solid. And that's some of the things I think about when I'm watching these shows, because I'm like, these men are so intelligent and so capable of getting people to follow them. But you're right, my kid doesn't even listen to me. How does he get all these strangers to follow him and to commit murder for him? It's crazy.
trust me, I couldn't be like, okay, well, just go ahead. Just go. No, they'd be like, what is wrong with you?
Mhm.
But like I said, I don't know. I've always wondered that. Like, how does that work? Like, what do they say? Like, how do they word it?
Yeah,
Because
and
it's just manipulation. But
it is. But what is that piece that they twist to make that person believe them? Do they play off a religion? Do they play off of fear? That's what I want to know. I mean, I can't sit down with them and ask them, but it'd be pretty cool if we could. but I want to know, are they so smart that they see where people are broken in their lives and that's what they play off of to then, be whatever that person feels a void for? I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I have to agree with your dad. It just, they do have the ability to brainwash. I mean, but then I think at the same time, like, I think we all have the ability to brainwash somebody
Mhm.
to a certain extent, but not like that, like drink the Kool-Aid, go out and kill somebody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I couldn't, I don't think
It's
I'd have that kind of power. Like nobody would
Mhm.
follow me. I'd be by myself, honestly. I like I have no followers.
Well, you would think
None.
at some point somebody's morals would come in where you're like, taking a life probably isn't the best idea. Why don't we just like have a drink or something? But
No,
I don't.
it was already done. Just drink the Kool-Aid. You're good. You're
Yeah,
good.
just
You're good. Just so good. It's all
yeah.
good.
I wouldn't have anybody following me either, so we can
Like
be
I'd be
on the
like,
same boat.
I'd be looking behind me like, anybody yet? Like, be like, nothing. I'd be
No.
like going from town to town. Anybody? They'd be like, nah, I'm good. Not today.
No, I couldn't even get a hype man to follow me around. It'd be just me riding solo.
We'll follow each other. It's not a big deal.
But we'll just follow each other to like Starbucks, not to murder.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Like, I
Yeah,
got the app. Don't worry, it's on me today. I can't. Well, that's what would happen. And then we'd plot something at Starbucks. Like, I don't know, maybe tomorrow.
well, and
No.
like the planning that goes into these things, like I don't know. I tried watching, there is a show called Signs of a Psychopath that I don't know if you've heard of it, but they do follow, they cover different murderers and serial killers, and they start from when they were born and they follow them all the way up until their first kill. And it's interesting because some of them are just normal kids. And, there's things where I'm like, oh, my son does that. And it kind of like freaks me out. But then there's other people where you're like, oh yeah, no, they're gonna kill a lot of people when they're older, and just seeing it's awful. I mean, it's an incredible show, and it does bring to light like different signs as they're growing older. But it's just crazy because watching that show so far, I have not, aside from like Jeffrey Dahmer, I have not seen a person have a legitimate snapping point.
All right. Well, we're going to take just a short break real quick, and then we'll come right back.
Looking to launch your new masterpiece? Then try something new with Moonbow Publishing and Production. At Moonbow, we have a strong desire to serve authors in a powerful and meaningful way. After all, you poured your heart and soul into your writing, and we fully understand and respect that. Remember this: you will own the copyright to your work. You will have the final say on your work before being published. Even after all of that, we've saved the best for last. We won't take a percentage sold. Nope, not a penny. Excited about MoonbowPublications.com yet? We thought so. Take advantage of our company's services like book editing, formatting, and covers, publishing, and photography. Moonbow Publishing and Productions has everything you are looking for in a company. Remember, we will not keep any commissions. We are a boutique publishing company focusing on spiritual, health and wellness, and personal growth genres. Moonbow Publications and Productions, a new kind of publishing company.
Welcome back to Realm of Darkness, where we talk about true crime, just crime in general. So I don't remember what we were just talking about just a second ago.
I don't know, but I do have a question for you.
Oh, I have an answer, maybe.
So, thinking of a couple more cases, do you think, we'll use like Lacey Peterson for an example, do you think that women or men that are in these relationships where they end up murdered by their wives, husbands, or significant others, do you think that they see it coming, know it's coming, or do you think that those people are just manipulators down to the last day?
Okay, so here's where I have a little bit of an issue with that, okay? And a lot of people may disagree with me on this, okay? But I look at it this way. Affairs, money, you know, and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I look at. Like that, I think in those certain kind of cases, I think that's what motivates them. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't consider them like serial killers. Obviously, I think they just like wanted rid of their wives. I mean, instead of just being like a normal person and just getting a divorce or...
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, wouldn't divorce be easier than, you know, killing somebody, getting rid of the body, and then possibly spending the rest of your life in prison? But
I mean,
right.
I think if you can get away with it, I mean, in their own minds, I think that they can get away with it. But then I look at it this way, like, let's just say for an example that they're having this affair and they're like, well, the only way that I'm going to be able to do this or I'm going to be able to do that is if I get rid of this person. Mm-hmm. But it all comes out in the end anyways, and that affair is not going to last because now they're in stinking prison.
Well, and I mean, the quickest way to get rid of a significant other to be like, hey, I'm cheating on you. Mine would be out. I think you're right with like the money, and it's, I mean, a lot of the 7 deadly sins, but like lust, greed, all of that. And the divorce might be too expensive. They don't want to ruin their character in their neighborhoods or their community, but it just, I don't know. I see these cases and I'm like, these poor women and men who never saw it coming.
But I think in like cases like that, they don't see it coming. I think, mm-hmm. And I don't think those people, like these women or men, they actually see it coming. I think it's just kind of like a spur of the moment type thing. But then this is what really, really kind of gets me is they'll have the person that they're cheating on their wife or husband with do the crime, and they don't, because they don't think that, you know, they're going to get caught. Well, of course you're going to get caught. I mean, one way or another.
Yeah, you're linked to that person in some way, shape, or form. I mean, cell phones right now are the best tracking device. So
that is true. I could track
yeah,
anything on a cell phone.
That's like 101 of getting caught is your cell phone pings off a tower. Like, I mean, you just killed somebody, leave it at home. It just...
There was what was this case I was following, and it was a while ago. Her name was like Natalie Jones, and she went out like on the 4th of July. She had some kids, and she all of a sudden decided to come home, and then she never showed up at home, and it took them forever to find her hot pink car. Okay. Now, mind you, she was like in her 20s. So this car is parked. They find it. But you're telling me that they can't find this hot pink car for months? I mean, months. Okay? I mean, months.
How does a hot pink car go missing?
That's a good question.
But
her body was found in the car, in her hot pink car. And they're like, no, nobody killed her. Well, you don't just pull off to the side of it, because it just looks like she pulled off the side of the road, took a nap, and that was the end of it. There was no drugs in her system, from what I'm understanding.
But in
so
the
on
trunk.
and so forth. No, she was in her driver's seat.
Oh.
Yeah, like she just pulled off to the side, took a nap, and that was the end of it. And they're like, oh no, there was no foul play in that. Okay. Well, and because her ex-boyfriend had a storage unit that he could have easily put her car in there, because you don't lose a hot pink car in broad daylight. It doesn't happen.
Well, and any type of medical reason that you would just pull over and die, whether it's a heart attack, a brain aneurysm, a blood clot, you're going to be able to track that. You're not going to be like, I mean, unless they're significantly older.
I just couldn't imagine like pulling over, like, I'm just going to take a nap. No big deal. I have a hot pink car.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be mean, but you don't lose a hot pink car.
No.
And it turns out it was on somebody's property, and they didn't notice it there until they started cutting their grass. That to me,
how high was their grass?
That's what I wanted to know. They couldn't be that hard, but I know that car was not sitting there for like 4 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
it just
even
doesn't happen.
I mean, your grass is going to have to be pretty high, but also in nature, unless it's flowers, nothing is hot pink. So
I mean, it was hot pink. Like, honestly, if you can't spot a hot pink car like that, even in the tall grass, you're gonna get something through.
Right.
They're like, oh, we didn't mow it for how long? I didn't know it was there. I didn't know it wasn't there. I didn't know it was there. How do you not know it was there?
Okay, well, here's the other thing.
It's on your property.
Well, and if the grass was high enough to hide the car, the tire tracks of pulling the car in would have flattened the grass a little. You would have seen the tire marks.
Your dad, how many times have you heard the person killed tells a mother or father, if I end up missing, my spouse did it? I think many know how it's going to happen, but he does bring up a good point. Okay.
I think, yeah, there are some people that they do have that best friend or something that says, if I go missing, it's because they did it. I've heard that on a couple different cases.
Right. And I have too. And I think, okay, let's talk about a bigger life insurance policy.
Life insurance policies, yes. But, at the same time, I mean, I think that's a great point. I think it's a great question. But at what point have we all not joked about it? Like if someone said, like, I joke around sometimes, like if my husband really irritates me, like, oh God, I'm going to kill him. But that right there, if God forbid something happened to him, they could take that and be like, well, you said you were going to kill him. And be like, but does not every female at one time threaten to kill their spouse?
Because I'm always like, I'm going to put you in a wood chipper. Like,
I always say I'm going to put him in the river.
I mean, and I know that sounds really bad to say, like, hey, if you don't stop, I'm going to put you in a wood chipper.
Yeah.
Probably not the best idea, because I don't own a wood chipper.
That's the first point.
Not, I don't own one. I really wouldn't even know how to work one. Oh, speaking of which, this is not a funny story, but it is kind of a funny story. Okay. So it has nothing to do with our significant others, but there was this gal in Florida, and this happened a while ago. For some apparent reason, she decided she was going to play hide and go seek with her boyfriend. So I don't really know. So somebody put him in the suitcase, or he put himself in the suitcase or whatever. Well, she knew he was in there, so she just left him. She wouldn't get him out. So
And he died, I'm assuming. Did he die of suffocation?
he died. But my question of the matter is, why a suitcase? Like, why did you tell him go hide in the suitcase?
I don't know. Well, okay.
I mean, how do you get your body in a suitcase? I couldn't even get my body in a big suitcase.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
unless it's like a flexible cloth one, I'm not getting in it.
Well, and honestly, like, I've joked around. I'm like, man, if you don't stop, I'm gonna find a suitcase big enough to put your body in. There's no suitcase big enough to
No.
I had to put him through the wood chipper after I put him in there.
You know what, though? I'm actually glad you brought that up, because that just rang a bell in my head. So what about those people? And I'm thinking about this because I just watched a case on it last night. What if, or what do you think when somebody technically wants to die? Okay. So because the case I watched last night, it was a man and a woman. They were boyfriend, girlfriend. And the man was so unhappy. He was miserable. He had, he had begged her over and over, like, please, just, if you love me, you'll kill me. And she told him, like, okay, well, if we do this, how do you want me to do it? And it was all planned out. It wasn't anything gruesome. She just suffocated him. And when she tried to let go, he would put her arm back or put her hand back over his mouth until he passed out and died. And she is now on death row for murder. So in that situation, if you were on the jury, what would you think? I mean, murder is murder.
Okay, first off,
begging for it.
Okay, let's back that up just a little bit. Okay, I don't know if you know about the case of that Carter girl who convinced her boyfriend to kill himself.
Yeah, she was like 16 or
Michelle
something.
Carter. Yeah, Michelle
Yes.
Carter. Okay, and I've always been kind of like intrigued with that. Like, again, that's a whole manipulation thing. But just because he wanted to die doesn't mean that you encourage it.
Right.
Okay,
right.
And I think that's where then maybe it's time to go see a doctor. Like, instead of saying, like, I understand that you want to die, but let's get you the help that you need, because I'm not going to help you. I mean, if you're snoring, that may be another thing. I might use the pillow. Joking, everybody, joking, that it will never happen. But the thought has crossed my mind because I get really tired.
Just a little.
I've done that before. And he's like, what? And I'm like, stop, because it's annoying.
That's when you pretend to be asleep and just roll over with the elbow and be like, oh, no, I'm sorry. I was having a bad dream.
I'm just gonna plug your nose. I've plugged a nose, but I've thought about it. I'm just like, God, if he doesn't stop snoring, I'm gonna smother him with a pillow. Mm-hmm. But I would never do that. Okay. But I will say this, like, there is help out there for somebody that feels the need to want to take their life. And I really do feel that it's time. There's like hotlines, there's hospitals, there's all that kind of stuff. There was really no reason for her to have to help. But here's where I don't know, what was it? Those little cubbies that they have now where when you want to die, when you feel that you want to die, you just go in there. It's like a little coffin type thing. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-mm.
I don't know what country they have this in. It's like a cubby. And it's like... You can go in there and it kills you, because if you want to die, yeah. And I cannot remember for the love of money what the name of it is, but I've seen this thing and I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, why would somebody put that on the market?
Well, and then
like, what is going on?
Is there like security that you have to check in? Because how do you know somebody's not just like, hey, I'm kind of sick of you, I'm going to shove you in this pod?
Well, I don't know. Do you have to plug it in? I think there may be something in there. I don't know the whole ins and outs of it. It's something definitely that everybody should not to look into, so you could hurt yourself. No, I'm just saying, like, it's one of those things, like, it needs to be off. It needs just to be off the market, period. Yeah. Because I feel like it's going to end up in something that it doesn't need to be. Okay. Yeah. But there's so much help out there that people can get. Mm-hmm. But as far as saying like, hey, I want to die, you know, and stuff like that, that's like a negative. Then that's, you know, that's just saying, okay, well, I'll help you take you to the hospital because
Right.
that's how it's going to be.
Right. Well, and this guy, well, again, it was only one side. There's,
Mhm.
typically three sides to every story. But the guy, he was homeless. He was just jumping trains, going place to place. So that was kind of their lifestyle. They didn't have jobs. They were eating out of dumpsters and things like that. And he had said that he was just miserable, and he figured that he would be better on the other side. And he believed in spirits and ghosts and things like that. And yeah, he begged her and begged her. And she was put on death row, I believe, without parole.
Well, she should. I
She said,
mean,
ooh,
I'm just saying, like, it's still you took a life. I mean, I
right.
guess it's just kind of one of those things. Like, I feel like if you take a life one way or another, that's where you should be. But
Yeah.
here's where I think where I'm having the problem is they keep these people on death row for so long. Just get it done. Like,
Yes.
get
Like,
it
yes.
done, but make sure you have the right person, but get it done. We don't need to keep them forever.
Right. I mean, not to sound cheap, but those are tax dollars that are being wasted. I mean, if you know for a fact, red-handed, that person is guilty, just get it over with. Like,
Right.
why drag it out?
Exactly.
Because then you're taxing me to take care of somebody who has no respect for human life.
But if I'm not mistaken, and I could be, doesn't Texas, don't they make them actually work and sit out in camps? Or am I wrong on that one?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's a great idea. I think if they're
I don't think they should get air conditioning, heat, TV, access to the internet.
No, and now watching one of these episodes, it was the same girl. They have Zoom in prison now where you can video chat with your family, like how we're video chatting right now. And I'm like, why do they have all these perks that we're paying for?
I don't know. That is like one thing I don't understand. I have to agree. I don't know, because they do make it. Think about it. They get 3 meals a day.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of, I mean, I didn't grow up on the streets or anything, but a lot of people on the street say, "Oh, it's 3 hots and a cot." So they don't even see
What
it.
is a cot? I mean, I want a nice comfy bed, maybe.
Right.
Therapeutic.
I mean, depending on your mental state, some people are okay with the 3 hots and a cot. They don't care, which baffles me, but if they're
But that's not a place like, I mean, I want to be pure. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I like to go shopping. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, sometimes I need like a break from my children. Like, what would it be like just sit there for like someplace for like a month, and when somebody goes, "Mom, mom, mom,"
yeah,
mom.
But that's like just like an overnighter. Like, I don't want to do years. I want to do like 12 hours.
Maybe.
Maybe.
At this point, I don't know. Today has been a rough day, so I don't know. You know what I mean? Screw it. But like I said, but no, I mean, I think that, and I have to agree, we spent a lot of tax dollars, like, just feeding these people, and TVs for what? To watch your court case?
Well, and some people, they do those things to be famous. I mean, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the guy. He was a young kid, and he shot up a mall. It was years and years ago, and I forget what it was, but he ended up killing somewhere in the teens. He just killed a bunch of people in a mall, and when they were walking him out, he's like, "Well, looks like I'm going to be more famous than the Columbine kids." And I'm like,
this is what I cannot understand about killer kids.
Yeah.
For what? Like, what goes through their minds? Well, they have their whole life ahead of them.
What was the one that, oh gosh, I think it was in Michigan, I might be wrong, where he just went to school and the parents are being charged because they're saying, and I'm really back and forth on this because, like, yes, having a gun is absolutely, like, it's part of the amendment. Like, you should be able to have a gun. However, lock it up. Some people don't. If your child is raised with guns and they know how to shoot them and they know how to clean them and they know how to properly handle them, great. You're an awesome parent. You should have taught your kid that way. But what I don't understand about these parents being charged, and I've heard rumors. I don't really know what's true. I haven't done a lot of like research on the case, but they're trying to say that the parents knew it was going to happen.
Okay, I guess from what I'm understanding as far as that went is in school he was writing something on like a paper or something.
Okay, I thought it was his desk.
No, I think it was a piece of paper, and then or maybe I thought I heard it was a piece of paper. So anyways, and then he redid it because his parents had to go in for a meeting. And they sent him back to class knowing that he needed help. I don't know if it was like the school or if it was the parents that requested that he went back.
So I'm not sure. That there was a text message that
between him and his mom.
Yes, and he was talking about ammo at school, and he got in trouble, and his mom said, "Oh, don't talk about that at school." And I think they're using that in the case against her.
Well, when they found that there was a shooting, from what I'm understanding is his dad went and looked in the drawer. Now, you don't keep a gun in a drawer, okay?
No.
I own guns there in a gun cabinet. I know where the keys are. My kids don't at any point. But what I'm saying is the dad looked in the drawer, noticed that the gun was gone. From what I'm understanding, the mom sent him a text message. But then here's where the issue lies. If I'm not mistaken, they kind of left the area, even though I don't know if they were wanting for questioning or whatever. They just kind of left the area. Now, I have to agree, though, as far as that goes, I'm on the fence about it. I don't believe that. I think the only thing that they're really guilty of is A, not getting their child help, and B, not locking up their gun. Yeah.
Well, and let's be honest, if I just found out that my child gunned down children, I don't know if I would just sit at home either. I would be dumbfounded. I would be like, oh my God, what did my kid just do? And in that moment, who knows how someone's going to react? They might have went for a drive. They might have went to a friend's house to talk or something, leaving the area. I think that's a little far-fetched to try and pin this on them, but
okay, but here's the thing. We could go back to the Brian Laundrie case, okay?
Yeah.
Like his parents, let's just be honest. Do I believe his parents helped him do what he did? Oh, hell yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah.
Do I believe that he's still alive? Oh, hell yeah, I do. Okay.
When he was home. He came home for an entire week and never told anybody. His parents knew when they came home from that trip that he was home for a week. And no one told anybody she was missing or that she didn't come home.
All they found was a skull, okay? A skull, okay? It couldn't have been in the water that long. Do you see what I'm saying? So do I believe that he is long gone? Oh, I believe that full-heartedly. I believe that kid is long gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people are like, no, because of, dental records, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, I'm just telling you, that is what I believe. I don't care what anybody else has to say about it. Mm-hmm. Everybody can disagree with me on this one, but I do believe full-heartedly that he is still alive out there someplace. But do I think he's a serial killer? No, I don't. I just think that he killed his girlfriend.
He probably snapped and he needs help of some sort. I do want to bring up the comment that Katie made. I think, Katie, I think you're 100% correct. I think there's too much power. There's too much publicity. There's too much fame given to the killer, and there is not enough around the victims. And I think that is something that we fail at as a community and as a society. And I think social media is really bad about that. We publicize, we publicize the killer or the person at hand that does it, and instead of kind of doing the victims instead, telling the victims stories and making their faces known. If we had a killer and we only posted a name, no pictures, no nothing like that, people might, the ones that look for fame in that way, might think twice. I don't know. Right. It's kind of hard to tell.
Well, I know we have to actually wrap this up here
Yes.
very shortly. So next week, Ashley will just be on herself. I have something that I need to attend to. Came up out of nowhere tonight. And Ashley, I don't know what is your plan? I know you have a nice topic, and I wish I
Yes.
could be here for
So
it, but you go ahead and let everybody know.
So being from Ohio and living only 20 minutes from the original house where all this happened, I will be covering the case and the story of Jeffrey Dahmer. So one of my favorite, and not favorites, but one of the most interesting that I find. So we will be talking everything and anything Jeffrey Dahmer next week.
It'll be exciting. Guys, go a little easy on her, okay?
Add some comments, or I'm just going to be ranting and raving to myself for an hour.
She can do it. I know she can. And I know Afterlife Chronicles tonight is not on after us. I just want to throw that out there. And tomorrow on Secrets Within, I have Pastor Chris Paul, and we are going to talk about obviously the afterlife with his religion, and how he handles demonic cases. So I'm pretty excited about that. But make sure you guys tune in next week on Realm of Darkness, because I know Ashley is so looking forward to that, and I wish I could be here next week, but I cannot. So
We'll
but that's
miss you,
it is what it is.
I'll hold down the fort.
Somebody has to.
Maybe. Hopefully.
You got this. It's no big deal. All right. Ashley will see you guys next week, and I will see you guys tomorrow evening.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.